Pesachim Daf Beis. Two emails from two brothers. One of them is Akiva Fold thanking his brother Avigdor Fold for introducing him to the shir. The second one is Yossi Schloss from Manchester, I think, thanking his brother Menachem Schloss, who lives in RBS, for introducing him to the shir. And he says, "Thank you to no end for giving me real purpose to my daily life. Yossi Schloss, Torah is keeping us alive. Thank you." So as we discussed on yesterday's daf, according to Abaye and Rabbi Huda, two people saw a murder. One said it happened at 3 o'clock. The other one says it happened at 5 o'clock. The story actually happened at the end of 3 o'clock or at the beginning of 5 o'clock. And a person confuses time up to an hour and a little bit. Asks Rava, if one of the testimonies was that it happened at 3 o'clock, and the other testifies that it happened at 5 o'clock, perhaps the one that said 3 o'clock, he meant 3:00, exactly at 3 o'clock. The one that said 5 o'clock, he meant 5:59. There's almost a 3-hour gap there. How could you kill somebody based on this testimony? It says in the pasuk V'tzilu Eida, we have a chiyuv to search and discredit the Eidim, not believe them, even though in this case, such a testimony. So he says, according to a mayor, a person can make a mistake up to 2 hours and a little bit. And the story happened either at 2 o'clock or at the end of the third hour, 3:59. So it's a little less than 2 hours where a person makes a mistake. So this guy said 2 and this guy said 3. Even if we separate their testimony as much as possible to the beginning of the second hour and the end of the third hour, there's only a little less than 2 hours, and that's okay. That fits into what people make a mistake. According to Rabbi Yehuda, a person makes a mistake a little less than 3 hours, and the story happened at 3 or at the end of the fifth hour at 5:59. So once again, even if we separate their testimony completely, we say it happened at 3, another guy at 5:59, the difference is slightly less than 3 hours, and that fits in to where people make a mistake. The Mishnah says in Sanhedrin that when we cross-examine these witnesses, we ask them 7 chakiros, and then we ask them bedikos. Chakiros are what cycle of the Shemitah did it happen in, of the 7 years, and within the 7 years, what year did it happen, this murder? What month, what day of the month, what day of the week, was it a Monday or a Tuesday, what time of the day, and where? If one of them says, I don't remember one of these things, the whole testimony is off, because it's not an Eidush Yachal Azima. You can't pin him down, you can't say, Imanu Yisim, you were with us, and therefore he's Chayav Misa. You can't do that, so it's not a good Eidush. But when it comes to the Bedikos, these are other questions that are asked, and when somebody says, I don't know, or even the two Eidim say, I don't know, the Eidush could still exist because it's Yachal Azima. You could say, Imanu, you said it happened in this to this day, you were with us, and we could kill them based on that, the original testimony of the Chakir. But we must say that in order to discredit these Eidim, they have to be off, according to Rameir, the 2 hours, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, 3 hours. But to kill these Eidim, according to Rameir, they have to be off by, in other words, Imanu Yisem, you were with us from daybreak, 00, all the way to the end of the 5th hour. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, all the way to the end of the 6th hour. Not the 7th hour, because that the sun is in a completely different place and nobody will confuse that. According to Abaye and Rameir, where a person doesn't make any mistake at all in time, so why is it when it comes to chametz, we say stop eating chametz an hour before the Zman Isser? Why can't you just go all the way up to the Isser? People are very careful, they know exactly what time it is. The Gemara says, you're right, when it comes to testimony, people are exact. But since chametz is for all of Klal Yisrael, we have to be very careful. There are people who are not that exact. Testimony, people are exact. Now when it comes to chametz and all of Klal Yisrael, therefore we had to add another hour. According to Rav and Rameir, a person makes a mistake, you can make a mistake of 2 hours. So why aren't we concerned that a person might confuse the 7th hour, it's Asr Tit Chametz, with the 5th hour, 2 hours away? Says Gemara, because the sun is in a completely different angle, it starts off in Mizrach, ends up in Ma'ariv, people don't confuse that. And the 6th hour as well, it's in a Karen, people don't confuse it. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that a person makes a 3-hour mistake. So why don't we think that he might think that it's already 7 o'clock and it's also Tit Chametz, he might think it's 4 o'clock. Once again, because the sun is in a completely different place, he's not going to confuse it. But even according to Rabbi Yehuda, a person cannot eat in the 5th hour because that is something given to all of Klal Yisrael, and they're not very careful, whereas when it comes to testimony, people are very careful. Rava says the reasoning in Rabbi Yehuda is not some sort of gzeira. We are concerned of Yom HaMe'unan, a cloudy day, and people get confused with the time. Now, they won't confuse it all the way to 4 o'clock, because 4 o'clock is the time that most people eat. And that's not something to make a mistake. Now we have to explain the Brisa. The Brisa gives us a list of different people that have different times of eating. The first category are cannibals, ludim. They are very into eating. They'll eat anything, including human beings. Therefore, they eat the first hour of the day, as soon as daylight breaks. Listim, who are up all night robbing people, they take a 1 hour nap. The raftanim, the fressers, they eat at the second hour. People that inherited a lot of money, they don't have to work for their money, so they eat on the third hour. And here's the problem. It says the fourth hour are for workers. We just said the fourth hour are common folks. And the fifth hour, Talmid Chachamim, sixth hour, all people. Says the Gemara, we have to flip it around, you're right. The fourth hour are all people, the fifth hour are the workers, and the sixth hour, Talmid Chachamim. Once the sixth hour comes and you didn't put anything into your stomach and you eat, it's like throwing a stone into an empty vat. Rabbi Yehuda says, there's a mitzvah to burn your chametz with fire. Yet, once the Zman Bir comes, you can destroy the chametz in any way you want, you can flush it down the toilet, etc. The Gemara tells us, just like people make mistakes when it comes to testimony in terms of time, they confuse hours, in terms of chametz, they'll also make the same mistake. But if one person says, I saw this murder before Netzach Hama, and the other one says, I saw it during Netzach Hama, testimony is off. And what's the chiddush? Because sometimes you might think it happened during the nights or before the nights, and one of them might have thought that he saw some light, some sort of flash. That's a true mistake, and the testimony is off. Have a wonderful day.